Get Rich Slow with John Wolf. Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about mortgage forbearance, and specifically I want to talk to you about some things that Meet Kevin have said that I think are either very misleading or missing some really important parts of the story. So let's jump right into that. Okay, so in a long series of videos, and I'm only going to show a few clips, Meet Kevin suggests using mortgage forbearance as a tool for investment. Now, I want to make this super clear. If you have lost your job, or if you're suffering some, severe decrease in your income or severe increase in costs because of the pandemic, and you are anywhere close to being in danger of not making your normal bills, not making your mortgage payment, all those kind of things, please, if you have a mortgage and you can sign up for mortgage forbearance, do it, take the forbearance. I don't want anyone late on any payments because they didn't. However, what this is not a tool for, this is not a tool so that you can skip 12 months of $2,000 a month mortgage payments and have $24,000 to then go and invest. That is not what this is for. So I'm just going to go through a few points that he's talked about and verify a few and tell you why I wouldn't do a lot of other ones. So first off, he talks about how much it'll cost you if you do this.
They were trying to trick you. They are trying to convince you that you must pay them, which, I guess I don't blame them. You did kind of take a loan from them.
So the general rules that Congress set up are that if you do forbearance for, let's just say you do 3 of your 6 months, then all of the principal, interest, everything that was due is sort of just added on to your loan balance. More interest at your same rate accrues on what you owed over time. So if you, let's say on month 4, have the ability to write a check for what you owed, it's going to be more than the original dollar amount because you have to pay interest on everything that was going forward for that 3-4 months. Now, you don't have to pay it until you sell your home, refinance, or get to the end of the loan. But what you need to understand if you wait a long time is, the interest on your 4.5% interest or whatever it is on the, let's say $6,000 that you skipped paying, every, interest is charged against that every month as you go forward in the future. So the dollar amount you're going to have to pay is greater. Now, is being able to survive now and pay that bill later at the same interest rate that your mortgage was agreed upon, is that a great deal? Yeah, it's absolutely a great deal. But that's not nearly the end of the story. So specifically, if you do mortgage forbearance, it does not count as a late payment. However, it is absolutely noted in your account. And if you go again for any type of real property loan, you're going to have to, it's actually going to be a requirement that everything has been paid back, and or you're going to have to show proof that it's been paid back. When he did it, he just called and asked about it, and he talks about losing 40 points of credit and it being no big deal because he gets it back in a couple months.
Wells Fargo here. How will your credit be affected? We won't report a past due status for your account.
Now, I want everybody to pump the brakes on that idea. So if you just call and you don't use it, you'll probably have an experience like that. If you do use it, that probably will not be your experience. And the reason I'm saying probably is because nobody really knows how this is going to be treated in the future. Here's what I mean. So if right now you're getting a credit score hit because you did that, it may very likely be that in the future, the credit score hit persists as long as you still owe that extra money. Now, that isn't a rule now, but that's a rule I could really easily see happening. Additionally, right now, if you want to get any kind of a new mortgage, it is absolutely required that you not be in forbearance and that any forbearance be paid off before you can refinance or anything with a different company. And depending on who you are, what the company is, they might have that requirement even if you already have a loan with them. In any case, you should shop around. But anyways, that's a big problem. And future rules, which you should maybe worry about, especially if you're someone who's watching Meet Kevin and you want to do the get rich slow lifestyle, which I kind of call I want to own 5 to 10 properties in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, the record that you ask for forbearance is going to live forever. And if you actually took out forbearance, that record is also going to live forever. So imagine in the future, there could very easily be rules or pricing adjustments, especially when you're looking at investment real estate, to modify what you're going to be charged or if you can get a loan in the future. And those rules don't exist now, but it even makes sense for those rules to exist. Now think about it. If, 2 years later you have the cash and you want to buy a fourplex, well, the fact that you skipped making mortgage payments for 6 months, that's something that probably should weigh in a ability to repay decision or in your creditworthiness decision. Now that's not my rule, but it's like, I kind of look at things and I kind of decide like, hey, is this a dumb rule or is this a rule that actually makes sense, have some bearing? And in this case, I have to say it's a rule that makes sense and has some bearing. But anyways, and then, what's the most egregious is Meet Kevin actually pulls up and suggests using the mortgage forbearance as a tool for investment.
If you are a landlord or you are a homeowner, and you do not plan to refinance or make a real estate purchase within the next 3 months, you probably ought to take forbearance. The reality is anyone who has a mortgage would be smart to request mortgage forbearance right now.
Now again, if you're actually in danger of losing your house, not paying your bills, not being able to eat, not being able to keep your car, totally use it, no problem. But, he talks about self-attesting to do it. Well, self-attesting, if it's not true that you had any, and I'm not saying you're ever going to get caught, but if it's not true that you had what any other reasonable person would call a hardship, then you are absolutely directly lying to the federal government. And there are some people in the news who are in long court battles and or going to jail just for lying to an FBI agent or something similar, or lying to Congress. And it should be clear that I'm not suggesting anyone get prosecuted from this, but you're doing almost exactly the same thing for a personal financial gain if you're lying. Now, if you're telling the truth, great, but lying about it is totally a different thing. And yes, self-attest does mean that they're taking your word for it, but that doesn't mean they're going to take your word for it in the future. Does that make sense? Because this is an emergency provision and Congress doesn't want anybody to start heading to foreclosure that they can stop because of extra bureaucracy. But generally speaking, when the government's involved, bureaucracy is coming, if you know what I mean. So I would absolutely not do this as a plan for building wealth, both because, you shouldn't lie, you should pay loans that you agreed to pay to the best of your ability, And if you start losing that ability, that's a totally different question. And then the second piece is, if you're trying to use this as a way to financially gain over time, I think that in the long run, what goes around comes around, and you probably won't hugely financially gain from that. I could see somebody who skips a year's worth of payments to invest in the stock market, and then 2 years later, they want to buy either their dream home or an investment property, and their previous actions prevent them from doing that, even though now they have the cash because they did well in the investments. Now, I'm not saying that will happen, but that's something I could see easily happen. So anyways, I know I'm a tiny fish, and I really enjoy your channel, Kevin. I would love it if you'd at least say a what's up. Have an awesome day. Again, I'm a loan officer in Oregon and Washington. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support me personally, reach out to me about your home loan. Have an awesome day. Bye.